everyone. I'm Sam.
And I'm Justin.
And welcome to this installment of the Dump and Chase podcast, The Breakaway. Now, this format is not something we intended on using during the season, but due to more postponements, all we really have is the recap from last weekend. So we'll start with that, then we'll get into what the next couple of weekends possibly could look like. Justin, are we all good? No animals congregating outside your window?
Nope. The coyote pack seems to be wandering elsewhere this week.
Yeah, our episode last week, we were interrupted a few minutes into recording by the call of the wild outside Justin's window. I went back and forth afterwards as far as including it in the show, but the audio alone just didn't do it justice. You just had this look on your face like my kids did when they saw Niagara Falls for the first time, like you had never heard animals before.
Well, when they're pretty much at your back window, we get them here pretty frequently, but yeah, they were very close. This close to locking and loading.
Maybe we'll throw it in on the Season 3 blooper reel later on in the year. Okay, so not a great weekend for the Phantoms. Both games were very similar. Both were 1-goal losses, with Green Bay getting the tiebreaker late in the game. Youngstown competed well in both games. They just came up short both nights. Thursday night, the Phantoms went down 2-0, but came back to tie the game with goals by Georgi Merkulov, his second of the season, and a power play goal by Adam Eisel, his first. Green Bay would go up 3-2 before the Phantoms tied the game in the third with a Brad Merrick tally, his second of the season. The Gamblers' Mason Laurie would put Green Bay ahead for good with a little over 3.5 minutes left in the game. Phantoms lose 4-3. The Phantoms were 1 for 6 on the power play and 2 for 3 on the penalty kill. Kyle Chevette got his first USHL start and goal, stopping 34 of 38 shots. This was not a loss in the sense that the Phantoms were outplayed. It just came down to which team got the last good scoring opportunity, and when it was all said and done, that was Green Bay.
Yeah, it was extremely competitive, and that's something we saw even going back to the Dubuque game. Very good parity so far this season.
So, Saturday night had a little role reversal to start the game. The Phantoms went up 2-0 with an early goal by Riley Funk, his first of the season, and a shorthanded goal by Will Hillman, his second. Green Bay came back to tie the game at 2 before Riley Funk lit the lamp for the second of the game and season on the power play. Green Bay would come back again, taking a 4-3 lead. Cole Birch would get his third of the season on the power play to tie the game at 4. And once again, the Gamblers' Mason Laurie would get the game winner with about 3.5 minutes left. Phantoms lose 5-4. Phantoms would go 2 for 6 on the power play and 5 for 6 on the penalty kill. Mateus Scholl got the start and goal, stopping 27-32 in the loss. And again, the Phantoms competed in this game. Never at any point did I think they were overmatched. Again, it just came down to who had the momentum at the end, and it was Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, there were several momentum swings. Like you said, Laurie got the big goal both games. He's a guy I kind of pointed out in the preview. A very good two-way defenseman. You got to kind of watch those guys, especially late in games. Something to put on your scouting report for next game. We mentioned Hillman got the shorthanded goal in the game, one of those big momentum swings. I'd like to point out, I also mentioned in the first game, he had a fight with Zan Gurney, who's not a slouch when it comes to fighting. I've seen him fight some pretty big-name guys, and Hillman held his own pretty well, so another thing to put on your scouting report for next time.
Okay, so now we get to the COVID-infected elephant in the room. Games all over the USHL have been postponed. A mix of positive tests on teams and local health department and local government decisions. As anyone listening knows by now, Ohio went under a curfew order starting Thursday, which is in effect from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and will last for 21 days until December 10th. The issue this may raise is the possibility of the start time for the Phantoms' home opening weekend may be changing, as evidenced by high school football state championship games adjusting their game times to ensure that the games are over before 10 o'clock.
It's a fluid situation. If I haven't said that before, you're probably going to hear that a lot this season. So, yeah, I don't know how that will play out for us when we get to the home games. We're just trying to take this day by day.
So the other part of this, especially for the Phantoms for the next few weeks, Michigan on Wednesday started a 3-week shutdown, which included schools, bars, restaurants, and any athletics that are not college or pro. Now, this gets a little sticky for the Phantoms as their 4 remaining games this month are all in Michigan, one of which is today's game with the U17s that was postponed. So the 3 remaining games up north are on the verge of being postponed as well, as Michigan apparently classified the USHL as not being considered college or pro, but that was not exactly the case with Iowa, was it?
Yeah, my understanding is Iowa, they have deemed USHL to be pro. This probably comes down to how the offices operate, things like that. We've always kind of been in that weird kind of gray zone between youth, amateur, college, pro, semi-pro, however you want to term it. Sometimes it's not been in our benefit. This time it might have paid off for the teams out west. We'll see how that goes. I understand now that there are more strict mask mandates for the stadiums. We'll just have to, see how things go. The hospitals don't start overflowing, things like that. If things go okay in Iowa, maybe Michigan makes some adjustments for USHL teams. Who knows? But as it stands, it doesn't look good for us in the East.
Now, I will point out as we're talking about this, we're talking about it in the context of the, Phantom schedule, the USHL schedule. Obviously, we believe, you may agree, you may disagree, that's up to you. We believe that, these measures being taken by the various states are necessary. Infection rates are just out of control right now. It's, as bad as we thought the first wave was, it's not as bad as we thought the second wave was. This third one is just crippling, hospital systems already with, and it doesn't look like it's going to be slowing down anytime in the, in the near future. Yeah, so, I mean, when we're talking about this stuff, it's in the context of just the actual schedule itself. We're not complaining that these things are being shut down or moved around or anything else. So, as I just stated, the Phantoms' only game this weekend was postponed. Now, next week, the Phantoms are supposed to travel to Plymouth for a game with the U17s. According to the NTDP right now, that game is still scheduled to go on. And then the Phantoms will travel to Muskegon for games next Friday and Saturday. Whether that happens remains to be seen. As we've kind of been told, I guess the teams are kind of working with the governor's office as far as, what their designation is and if they still could play. Apparently that has not been worked out so far, but it's something that is being worked on. So just remains to be seen how that goes. I will say, the start of the season has been rocky so far, but to the best of our knowledge, the Phantoms have been in the clear so far, and the scheduling issues have all been for reasons out of their control.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously this is out of everybody's control at this point. We've been very lucky, fingers crossed, but you can almost expect that this will hit everybody at some point. We've just kind of all do our part at this point and try to minimize it.
And that is our show for now. As always, thank you for tuning in. The Dump and Chase podcast is brought to you by hockeyfan.com. We will not have a show next week, but hopefully games will be played and we will be back the week after. So on behalf of Justin and myself, we wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Stay happy and stay full, and do not hog the deviled eggs. For the love of God, do not hog the deviled eggs.
Do I make a Baby Yoda reference here? You probably don't have it.
Do you have to?
That seemed to get a lot of people really upset this week. So, yeah, maybe I'll skip that one. Just wear a mask.
He's not even Baby Yoda. It's the child. Nobody on the show has called him Baby Yoda. That's like an internet meme thing.
Yeah, he's a baby. What are Yoda's race? He's Baby Yoda.
He's the child.
The child. He's 50.